Hello, everyone! Welcome to Nate's Basketball Analysis. I'm so happy to be back doing this again. I have a new co-host with me, my friend and ex-companion, David Irisari. David, if you want to introduce yourself, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'm David. Like as Nate said, I was a mission companion of his, and I live about 40 minutes from him. But I saw him last week after a bike ride, and we got together and talked about basketball and decided to put this together.
Yeah, figured we'd give it a shot, see if it works, and hopefully we can continue doing this. Anything else you want to say about yourself before we explain what the topic is tonight that we're discussing?
No, I think we got it.
Okay, and to all the viewers out there, you'll learn more about David as things go along, the teams that he likes, and this will be fun to grow the channel a little more. So tonight, specifically, we are discussing, what are we talking about, David?
The new in-season tournament for the NBA.
Yep. And the reason in explaining this is we know there's probably a lot of confusion. People are thinking, what the heck is the NBA doing, an in-season tournament? So David and I have discussed it a little bit, and we hopefully can lay it out for you clearly so that you have a good understanding as well. So David, if you will, go ahead and talk about the group draw, how that comes about, and then the teams that are in each group.
Okay. So there will still be an Eastern Conference and a Western Conference, and each group has been drawn out, and it includes several teams based on records. The first group in the Western Conference is West A, which includes the Memphis Grizzlies, the Phoenix Suns, the LA Lakers, the Utah Jazz, and the Portland Trail Blazers. Group West B will include the Denver Nuggets, the LA Clippers, the New Orleans Pelicans, the Dallas Mavericks, and the Houston Rockets. And Group West C will include the Sacramento Kings, the Golden State Warriors, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the San Antonio Spurs. On the Eastern Conference, we'll have Group A, East A, which will be the Philadelphia 76ers, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Atlanta Hawks, the Indiana Pacers, and the Detroit Pistons. East B will include the Milwaukee Bucks, the New York Knicks, the Miami Heat, the Washington Wizards, and the Charlotte Hornets. And East C will include the Boston Celtics, the Brooklyn Nets, the Toronto Raptors, the Chicago Bulls, and the Orlando Magic.
That's perfect, man. You explained that really well. Thank you.
And by the way, these teams were chosen for each group by being placed into a pot based on its record from the prior regular season.
You got it. Spot on. Since there's only 6 groups, it plays out that the winner moves on, and then there will be an additional 2 teams with the best record. That'll take you to the tournament where you have semifinals, and then you have a championship. So that's basically the way that it's going to break down. The tournament nights take place every Tuesday and Friday in November. Starts November 3rd and goes through November 28th. And then the championship games, what's the one before it? Oh, the semifinals. And the championship game will be played on December 7th and December 9th in Vegas. So that's pretty cool. The only day that they're not going to do it in November is Tuesday, November 7th, because that is election day, so no games will be played. Something interesting to point out is all of these games count towards regular season play. David and I discussed this a little bit before we started recording. David, what did we chat about there? You mind explaining how that's going to work? And if we even have an understanding of how that's going to work?
Well, so I think the part where we were confused was the group play portion of the tournament, where teams will play head-to-head from November 3rd through 28th. That part makes sense how that'll fit into the regular season. But once the tournament starts between December 4th and December 9th, only some of the teams will play those, but the record of all of the games, except for the championship game, will be counted towards the regular season. And I think we were a little bit confused by that, because not every team will be playing there. So we were wondering how that will be factored into the record for the year, especially considering that the records are used to make the playoffs at the end of the year.
Yeah. And what's interesting is Adam Silver, who created the tournament, has no idea who's going to be in it. Generally, the regular season games are planned out ahead of time. In the past few years, what they've done is they've done half, and then they've done half again. And I thought that was interesting, where you didn't know who you were going to play on the second half of the season, you know? So that'll be interesting to see how they determine that. Like, say, as the example that I gave you earlier, say the Heat and the Celtics make it to the semifinals. Those games count towards the regular season 82 games that need to be played. But say the Jazz were lined up to play against the Celtics, as an example, in the regular season. That is no longer the case because the Celtics will have already played another game. So it'll have to be moved around to where the Jazz will probably play another team in order to make up the number of games. And it won't look like a regular season, I don't think. But overall, while we're at this point, what is your opinion of the in-season tournament? Do you think this is helpful?
I think it'll grow on people eventually. I guess, you know, there will always be that question: will the NBA Cup be as big as, say, the Larry O'Brien Trophy at the end?
No.
Right. And you know, there are teams, specifically last year, the Lakers and the Heat, who made really deep playoff runs despite the fact that they did not play well during the regular season. So that begs the question, you know, will this matter at the end of the day? How much will you get in terms of bragging rights regarding this turn winning the NBA Cup?
You might get bragging rights this year just because it's the first year. and who knows if it's going to be made fun of later. But honestly, the team that moves on, there's some incentive. They'll win some money. It's still like they're playing the regular season. It's just to make it more entertaining. It's to give you something during the regular season, because nobody loves watching 82 games and then, you know, the playoffs is really when you tune in. There's diehards like you and I that follow those types of things, right? But
yeah, but I think even you and I don't watch every game.
Yeah.
I know. I definitely
checking scores and stats is definitely important to keep up.
I will check all the scores. I will check all the standings. I'll look at who scored the most. But even
that's why we're good at this, David. That's why we're good at this.
Yep.
So, just to clarify, in the groups, each team plays the 4 teams in its group
once,
2 times at home and 2 times away. So, wanted to clarify on that, and ultimately during November, that's when those games will take place, and then the winner of the 5 teams there will move on to the tournament itself. So, pretty interesting. What's at stake? Teams will be competing for the all-new NBA Cup, as we mentioned. I'll put a picture of that on the screen so you can see it. League honors. At the conclusion of the tournament, the NBA will name its most valuable player of the in-season tournament and the all-tournament team. So that's pretty cool. I mean, every bragging right you can get, right? Who's to say that like really crappy team won't knock out a really good team because it's single game elimination. You don't have time to figure them out like you do in the playoffs. So, pushing for my Jazz. As I say, wearing a Nuggets jersey here.
Wow, I thought you were wearing a Jazz
No, I'm wearing a
just thought,
Dikembe
they haven't said
Mutombo throwback jersey.
no. Gotcha.
Okay, in addition to the prizes, there's a prize pool. Prize pool will be allocated to the players in the teams that participate in the knockout rounds. So, I don't really understand what that means, but it's all to be explained as it gets closer. David did a great job of explaining which teams were in which group. Other than that, I just want to give a congratulations to the Denver Nuggets on winning the 2023 NBA championship. Shout out my friend Matt Peterson, who calls them the Denver Poop Nuggets. And I'll just say that I'm glad that they won.
Yep. They were definitely an impressive team.
I agree.
One of the most impressive I've ever seen.
Yep.
So I have some. I actually have a few more questions regarding this tournament about. Like to get your thoughts. How do you think this will affect the All-Star game?
So the All-Star game generally takes place in the spring, doesn't it?
Yeah, but
do you think?
I think there's been a general move, with several NBA players, starting with LeBron, where I don't think he likes the All-Star game, and there's others who have just tried to avoid the game altogether.
Whether he likes it or not, it's gotta happen. That's the thing about the NBA is there's tradition, and the 82 games that happen, I mean, they have to be played. If anyone's ever going to come into the league and potentially beat LeBron on the all-time scoring list, such as he did with Kareem, that's tradition. That's why the 82 games have to be played. I think Adam Silver understands, we can't change the number of games for that reason. It's not going to give anyone an opportunity. And then, All-Star game, same thing. It's been entertaining in the past, but it's kind of become like a load management thing, which is why the new rules are going into effect next year, or next season, that you have to play a number of games in order to win, like Rookie of the Year or Most Valuable Player, So I think Adam Silver's trying to do his best to make the season entertaining, but we'll still keep all of those other things, such as the All-Star game. If LeBron wants to throw himself out, then he'd be missing out on how many times he's been an All-Star. So I'm sure he'll participate, but he'll probably just make a fuss like he normally does. So what other questions you got? I like that one.
I wonder if winning the in-season tournament, I'm not sure if we described the pricing and league honors when we talked earlier, but I wonder if this would have any effect on the salary cap, considering the prize pool will be allocated to the players on the teams that participate in the knockout rounds.
I doubt it will. It's just an extra bonus. It's prize money. So, I've had a lot of people mention to me that it would be interesting to have other prizes, like get an additional ball in the draft lottery or something. Like, that's really interesting. But overall, I think they'll probably just stick to what they know, and then give some money. It still counts towards the regular 82 games season. So really, it's just bragging rights.
Thanks everyone for joining us. Let us know your picks. Let us know what you think of the new tournament. Let us know if you think it'll be successful or not. And if you like what you've heard, please subscribe.
Subscribe and follow along if you want to join us in this journey. We hope to be putting out more content. David and I are going to be chatting at least weekly. We hope to have some entertaining conversations and topics. And as the regular season gets closer, we'll begin to produce more content. We appreciate you being here, and we'll see you next week.